A Category 17 typhoon blew a little girl onto my balcony. She desperately clung to the railing, screaming for help. I put on my headphones and turned a deaf ear. Later, the girl fell and was left with a permanent disability. Her parents pointed at my nose and called me a murderer. People all over the internet called me cold-blooded and heartless. So what? It's still better than saving someone in my past life, only to be extorted for money, which led to my family being destroyed. 1. The typhoon howled fiercely, like a giant beast roaring wildly. I opened the reheated self-heating hot pot, ready to eat. The neighborhood group chat suddenly buzzed with activity. Owner of Unit 303, Building 2, there's someone on your balcony. Go check it out quickly. Oh my God. I live across the street and saw it clearly. There's a child hanging from your balcony, about to fall. I saw it too. How terrifying. Hurry and save them. They frantically tagged me. Soon. The property management called my phone. I let it ring and just didn't answer. A bite of spicy rice noodles is so refreshing. The messages in the group are still flooding in. I saw it clearly. The child was blown over from next door to apartment 303 by the wind. Her parents must be worried sick. As soon as this message came out, the flood of messages in the group immediately slowed down. The atmosphere became subtle. After a while, the property management finally spoke up. They still mentioned me. Miss Wen, a life is at stake. Let's put aside our personal grudges for now and save the child first. One after another, people began to voice their agreement. Although the couple in 302 are usually unpleasant, the child is innocent. Miss Wen, you're beautiful and kind-hearted. You'll definitely save them, right? The cries for help from the balcony grew louder. I put on my noise-canceling headphones and continued eating. In my previous life, I never needed group message notifications. I would run over to check as soon as I heard a cry for help. It took a tremendous effort to pull the child into the house against the force of the gale. As a result, I suffered a bone bruise on my arm, scraped my knee, and had my face cut by debris carried by the wind. More than half of the stockpiled goods inside the house were swept away, and the television was smashed with a hole when a suddenly flying robot vacuum cleaner crashed into it. The losses exceeded 20,000 yuan. I didn't make a fuss about any of these. After all, saving a life is a greater merit than building a 7-story pagoda. I left the child at my house for 2 days until the typhoon passed. I thought her parents would come immediately to pick up the child. Unexpectedly, they didn't even show up and directly mentioned me in the group chat. Since you live alone anyway, and it's too crowded here, let the child stay with you for a while. I immediately refused in the group chat and then took the child to knock on their door. Without even opening the door, they just threw these words at me. Staying for 2 days is staying, and staying for a month is staying too. If you could take care of her for 2 days, why can't you do it for a month? If it weren't for my daughter keeping you company, you probably would have been scared to death by the typhoon those 2 days. Furious, I left the child outside and shut the door without a second thought. The couple was heartless and didn't let the child in for even a single day. Helplessly, I ended up letting the child stay with me. While contacting the property management to mediate, I also fed the child. We remained in that stalemate for over half a month before they finally took the child back. Unexpectedly, just half a day after taking the child back. They claimed that I had made the child sick by feeding them improperly and even accused me of beating and abusing the child, threatening to sue me. I rushed to the hospital to confront the situation, only to see the child lying on the hospital bed covered in bruises. The small, tender hand pointed at me without hesitation and said, "She's the one who hit me, and she deliberately fed me spoiled food." In an instant, I became the villain that everyone wanted to drive away. I was laid off by the company and abandoned by my friends. Even my parents back in my hometown were isolated by the neighbors. I was required to compensate them for medical expenses and emotional distress, totaling as much as 350,000 yuan. For someone like me who had just graduated less than half a year ago, this was an astronomical figure. My parents used their life savings to pay off my debt, and then, amid the villagers' scorn, both of them suffered from old illnesses and passed away from depression. I was even directly kicked out by my landlord, left homeless on the streets, and in a daze, I missed a step and fell to my death from the stairs of the overpass. After death, my soul lingered by the little girl's side for 2 days. I saw with my own eyes how their family used my family's hard-earned money to buy a big house. The little girl stepped on my photo and proudly said, "It's all because of my great acting skills that we managed to swindle money from this fool." He. That cunning look is exactly the same as her parents. Since heaven has allowed me to return to this point in time, how could I possibly be the farmer who gets bitten by the snake again? Isn't it more enjoyable to eat while watching a show? 2. It has been 2 minutes since the little girl called for help. Her parents, just like in their previous life, remained silent. Probably to create the illusion that something had happened to them as well, so that everyone would put pressure on me. As another minute passed, they finally couldn't hold back any longer. "Young lady, I know you must have seen the group message. We only have this one child. Please, help us out. Don't pretend to be dead. I can smell the aroma of food wafting from your house. You must know something. I'm telling you, this is a matter of life and death. Human life is more important than anything. Do you understand?" The latter 2 sentences were spoken by the male head of the household, Wang Dafeng. Just reading these words, I could almost see his snarling, twisted expression. I still remember the day they moved in. He came over with his child, knocked on my door, and directly asked me for a red envelope. Who doesn't host a celebration when moving into a new home? Whether you host one or not is your business. But you must give my child a red envelope. The girl named Hong Hong looked innocent and harmless, but she ran straight into my house and took the only 200 yuan in cash from my wallet. Instead of saying thank you, she stuck out her tongue at me and said, "You, only 200, so you're a cheapskate." From that day on, I had a bad impression of this family. Later, I learned from the neighbors that this family was notorious in the area for being troublemakers and was disliked by everyone. I don't look for trouble, but they often come to my door to provoke me. They come up with all sorts of bizarre excuses to get money from me. Her child's favorite thing to do is press the elevator buttons randomly while I'm trying to get to work, making me late to reach the first floor. To get out of the elevator, you have to give her a tip. It forced me to take the stairs. As a result, I frequently call the property management to mediate. Everyone in the neighborhood knows that I don't get along with their family. On the eve of the typhoon's arrival, I was taping a shape on my window glass on the balcony when they filmed a short video to mock me. I advised them to take some precautions too, but they called me a fool. "You're the stupid one, not me. Our building is surrounded by other tall buildings front and back. Even if a typhoon really comes, what could it possibly do?" Not only did they not take any precautions, but they also deliberately set up a swing on the balcony, boasting that they would live stream swinging on it during the typhoon. The little girl was blown over by the wind, likely because she was attempting to perform a swing routine in the gale. By now, the child's cries were filled with terror. Neighbors came forward one after another, urging me to rescue her immediately. I moved all the food and valuables into the bedroom, then tagged everyone. "My front door is unlocked. Anyone who wants to rescue people can come in anytime. I'm locked in the bedroom and can't get out." Wang Dafeng sent a voice message. "Stop talking nonsense. I'm giving you a chance to accumulate good karma by rescuing people. You should be grateful and go save others, thanking our family for this opportunity to build virtue." The neighbor from 301 also spoke up. "That's right, miss. Saving someone is a virtuous deed that accumulates good karma. Such a great opportunity has fallen into your lap. Don't turn it down." I replied to her, "Exactly. Such a rare and wonderful opportunity. I'm still young and have plenty of chances to encounter more. You, on the other hand, how many days do you have left? Tell you what, I'll pass this good deed to you. You hurry up and go save them before it's too late." 301 complained, "With such strong winds, you're asking me to go out. Isn't that putting me in danger? Don't you know that when you open the window, the wind rushes into the room and can sweep people outside?" I laughed. "Right. With such a powerful typhoon, everyone wants me to go out. Do they think my life is worthless? If you don't value my life, I certainly do." At this point, those who were persuading quickly fell silent. The property management had to tag Wang Dafeng. "Mr. Wang, look, Miss Wen has already unlocked it. Since you are the child's parents, it would be more appropriate for you to go and rescue them." The couple fell silent for a few seconds. After a while, the female homeowner, Lin Chuyue, posted a selfie video in the group chat. Her face was covered in tears. "My poor daughter, it's all because your mother is useless. I just sprained my ankle as I was about to go out, and your father's leg cramped up too. Now, we can only watch helplessly as you die. Some people could save her but just won't. It would be such an easy thing to do. I wonder what kind of parents raised such a cold-hearted child. My darling, if you die, we won't go on living either. Let's just wander around the neighborhood as a family of 3 after we die. When the other homeowners heard this, they were alarmed. If someone really died, wouldn't it affect the property prices? Despite their urgency, not a single person stepped forward to help. They only urged me to lend a hand quickly. When they saw I wasn't paying attention, they went to pressure the property management. A few seconds later, there was a click. My house lost power. 3. I glanced outside. The other houses still had their lights on, so it seemed only my house was affected. Soon after, the property management privately messaged me, "Miss Wen, we have no other choice. You are the best person to save the child. As long as you pull the child into the house, we will restore your water and electricity." I thought of the 4 large buckets of tap water stored in the bathroom, the 8 large boxes of mineral water in the storage room, and the dozen or so fully charged power banks and flashlights, then smiled. It's not that I don't want to save them, but the door is locked and I can't open it. Why don't you send someone up to open the door for me? The property manager clicked his tongue and said, "If I could send someone up, wouldn't I just rescue the child directly? Why would I need you?" I said, "Yeah, sending someone directly to rescue them is much faster than having me step in. Hurry up. The child can't hold on much longer. If something happens, you'll be held responsible." When the typhoon warning was issued, the community ordered the property management to supervise homeowners in taking preventive measures. This is to prevent glass from flying out and injuring people. They not only failed to remind the Wang family to take precautions but also advised me not to meddle in their business after I reminded them. At this moment, I reminded him, "Your supervision is inadequate. And you're telling me not to meddle in others' business." I've saved the chat records. You know, in my previous life, when I was extorted for money, I knelt on the ground begging the property manager to check the surveillance footage, but he told me it had already been overwritten. In reality, he just didn't want to cause trouble. Hearing me say this, he became so angry that he started cursing on the other end of the phone. I smiled and reminded him, "Director Lee, I'm recording this." He immediately hung up the phone. Wang Xiaohong had already endured for 8 minutes. Someone saw through a telescope that her hands were bleeding from gripping, and her face was red and swollen from the wind. Her face was contorted by the wind, her eyes filled with terror as she cried out for her mom and dad. My bedroom window is separated from the balcony by just a single wall. As I walked over, I could clearly hear the child's cries. I said to her, "Your parents are right outside the door, waiting for your signal." She burst into loud sobs. "Dad, I can't do this anymore. I can't. We don't need to move to a bigger house. Mom, the wind is so strong. I want to go home right now. I don't want to live here anymore." I recorded her voice and sent it to the group chat. Everyone heard the little girl's words from the howling wind. "Mom, Dad, I'm so scared. I don't want to act anymore. I want to go home." I spoke up. So after all this fuss, it turns out the parents were forcing their child to act. What kind of parents are they? And on a typhoon day, no less. I was wondering how someone could be blown out from such a low floor, so they were just trying to extort money. This isn't the first time their family has pulled something like this. Whatever consequences they face are entirely their own doing. Let's not worry about things that don't concern us. Suddenly, the deadlock was broken. Everyone seized on this point to harshly criticize Wang Dafeng and Lin Chuyue. The property management directly cut off their water and electricity. They also gathered evidence, saying they would report them to the police for child abuse. The couple then reluctantly agreed to take the child away. However, I waited for a few minutes and didn't hear any movement outside. After a while, Lin Chuyue spoke up in the group chat, saying the door wouldn't open. She was slandering me. I directly used my phone to remotely control the door lock and opened the door. Footsteps were approaching from outside, but they weren't heading to the balcony. Instead, they were going straight into my kitchen. "Honey, there are snacks over here. Hurry up and take them away. This woman is so selfish. She actually hid so many delicious things without sharing them with us. And we even lent her our wall." This comment really made me laugh. This isn't the first time they've claimed that my living room wall was borrowed from them, and they've repeatedly used this ridiculous reason to ask me for money. By now, they had almost emptied all the supplies from my kitchen. I told the little girl that her parents were in the living room. She shouted at the top of her lungs. But the couple didn't stop. They just kept carrying things out the door. As they approached the door, Lin Chua glanced toward the balcony. "Husband. What should we do about Hong Hong?" Wang Dafeng casually remarked. "Do whatever needs to be done. Anyway, I won't let that little woman manipulate me. She's just a money loser. If she dies, all the better. I'll have a reason to demand compensation from that woman. Then we can have a son. Wouldn't that be better than raising a money loser?" The hesitation on Lin Chua's face instantly vanished, and she nodded with a smile. "You're always so clear-headed." At that moment, the scream reached its peak, mingled with the dull, heavy sound of something heavy hitting the ground. Outside the balcony, aside from the howling wind, there was no other sound. 4. The group chat was flooded with messages. Countless witnesses posted the videos they had taken into the group. How pitiful, so pitiful. The child was first blown against the wall by the wind, then fell onto the glass awning on the first floor, and finally landed on the ground. What exactly happened? Didn't the child's parents go to rescue them? The family on the first floor is so unlucky. Their perfectly fine home suddenly became a haunted house. After a while, Lin Chua finally spoke in the group, sobbing and crying. "Everyone, please help me. Just now, my husband and I went next door to save the child. But we couldn't open the door lock no matter what. I just remembered, a couple of days ago, my daughter was a bit mischievous and accidentally spilled water on that girl when Luo Chu. She immediately threatened to kill my daughter. She must have done this on purpose. My poor child, she's still so young. Her life hasn't even begun yet. What are we going to do?" She sent a video in. In the video, the usually arrogant and overbearing Wang Dafeng was lying on top of the little girl, crying as if his heart were breaking, with tears and mucus streaming down his face. Frantically kowtowing and kneeling on the floor. "Heavens above, if you want to take a life, take mine. Please give my daughter back to me. I know I've been a bit too harsh on the neighbors, but it's only because my family is so poor. I had no choice but to scrounge for food and drinks here and there, but that's all I've done. You can't punish my daughter for my wrongdoings. I beg you, take me instead." It has to be admitted, he does have some acting skills. This scene would inevitably bring tears to the eyes of those who don't know the truth. The discussions in the group gradually leaned in their favor. They all turned their criticism toward me. "When Luochu, you're really something else. Usually having conflicts is one thing. But how could you deliberately kick someone when they're down in a matter of life and death? She usually looks like a delicate and gentle girl. But who would have thought she could be so malicious? How disgusting. Even though you didn't directly kill the child, you are 100% a murderer. You must take responsibility for this." Soon, the property management released our chat records, but they selectively cropped the conversation, only showing the part where I refused to save the person. Regarding the rescue of Wang Xiaohong, our property management has done everything within our responsibilities. The tragedy occurred solely because when Luochu refused to cooperate. We deeply sympathize with the grief of the child's parents, but they, considering Wen's youth, could not bear to see her waste her youth in prison and have therefore decided to show leniency. Then, he put forward several demands. After negotiation, Mr. Wang and Lin stated that as long as Wen meets the following conditions, they will not hold her accountable for her mistake. First, before Mr. and Mrs. Wang conceive again, Wen must take on Xiaohong's responsibilities. Showing filial piety to Mr. and Mrs. Wang every day, including but not limited to cooking, doing household chores, and paying for their trips, among other things. Second, after Lin becomes pregnant, Wen must cover all expenses for the child until they reach adulthood. Third, if Wen is unable to fulfill the first 2 points, she must compensate Mr. Wang and Lin a total of 2 million yuan in one go. Fourth, all expenses for Xiaohong's funeral and other related costs will be solely borne by Wen, and this is non-negotiable. After the property manager finished speaking, they specifically tagged me and said, Wen, these conditions are already very lenient. If this goes to court, not only will you have to pay more, but it will also waste unnecessary time and energy. One after another, people chimed in, 2 million isn't much, if you can't afford to pay. then compensate with labor. That's only fair. What they lost was their precious child. What does it matter if she pays 2 million? Not to mention 2 million, even 10 million would be justified. Don't forget, there's also the damage on the first floor. An elderly couple lives there, and their children work in other cities. We must help them seek justice. Just as everyone was buzzing and urging me to pay up, I asked, who said the child is dead? 5. The group chat fell silent for a moment. Property manager Lee spoke up. We're at the scene. The child is unconscious, and the father is crying uncontrollably. What do you think? I calmly stated. I've already called an ambulance. It will be here soon. It's really strange. If it were my child, I would immediately take them to the hospital for emergency treatment, rather than assuming the child was definitely dead and trying to extort money from innocent people. Suddenly, several people in the group who hadn't spoken much began to voice their opinions. Indeed, a death certificate must be issued by a hospital to be valid. The child might just be in a coma. The parents' behavior is indeed a bit unusual. Look at those conditions. Not a single one is about mourning the child. They're all for their own benefit. The more you think about it, the more terrifying it becomes. No one else dared to speak. Wang Dafeng also stopped crying and started shouting insults in the group chat. You're talking nonsense. I've already lost my daughter. And now you're slandering me. I get it. You three must have been involved with that woman surnamed Wen all along, which is why you're defending her against your conscience. This statement makes my fists clench. He just casually spreads baseless rumors. It angered the three normal people so much that they stopped speaking altogether. He smugly urged me to make a decision as soon as possible, either give 2 million, or become their blood donor. By this time, I had already rushed to the first floor. When they saw me, the couple made a move to come forward and beat me up. 4 or 5 property management staff also glared at me with cold eyes. Not a single person glanced at Wang Xiaohong lying on the ground. You murderer, I'll kill you. Wang Dafeng charged over. I pulled out the kitchen knife from behind my back and pointed it at him. He suddenly stopped in his tracks and took 2 frightened steps back. What are you going to do? I curled my lips into a smile. Didn't you all say I'm a murderer? Anyway, my life is already ruined. I don't mind taking a few more people with me. As soon as these words were spoken, the people who had crowded around all silently stepped back. I quickly ran to Wang Xiaohong's side and reached out to check her pulse. It was still beating. Just then, the ambulance called back, saying they had arrived at the entrance. I immediately reported the house number to them. It's Unit 2, Room 101. Please come as quickly as possible. The child still has a heartbeat. Hearing me say that, the property management group was stunned, and then they breathed a sigh of relief. The crying old man and old woman also looked pleasantly surprised. Only Wang Dafeng and his wife looked nervous. It was completely unlike the reaction parents should have. Several seconds later, Wang Dafeng finally reacted and ran over in a feigned manner. My daughter, heaven has truly heard my prayers and brought you back. I pushed him away fiercely. What do you want to do? He cursed loudly. You son of a bitch, what business is it of yours, an outsider? If I hug my own daughter, I pointed the kitchen knife at him. No one touches her except for medical staff. After experiencing the ugliness of human nature, I have to think of people in the worst possible light. Wang Dafeng and his wife favor sons over daughters. They clearly want to trade their daughter's life for wealth and status, so he definitely doesn't want his daughter to survive. If he were to shake the child vigorously, he might very well shake the last breath out of the child. Then my witness would be gone. Fortunately, the ambulance arrived quickly and carefully placed the child on a stretcher before taking them away. They didn't allow me to ride along, and I didn't insist on going. Instead, I dialed the emergency number and briefly explained the situation. When the ambulance arrived at the hospital, the police were also dispatched. It is said that Wang Dafeng and his wife were kept outside because I reported them for child abuse. They cannot approach the child until the suspicion is cleared. 6. 2 days later, the typhoon ended. Everything returned to its previous state of calm. Only I know that this is the illusion before the real storm arrives. On the first day back to work, the police came to my door. In front of everyone in the company, they took me away on suspicion of intentional injury. I wasn't panicked at all and immediately called the lawyer I had already contacted. After a morning of discussion, I understood the specific situation. Wang Xiaohong survived the critical period and managed to keep her life, but she became a vegetable, relying on a ventilator to stay alive. Moreover, both of her legs were severely fractured, and it is highly unlikely that she will be able to stand up again, even if she miraculously regains consciousness. She will have to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Wang Dafeng was usually very stingy with his child and never bought her any insurance, so all the medical expenses had to be paid out of pocket. He accused me of preventing him from saving her, which led to the tragedy, and demanded that I compensate him 3 million, as well as cover the lifelong medical expenses for the child. The witness is the property manager, Li Sukai. There is currently no physical evidence, therefore. After half a day, I was temporarily released and allowed to go home. The company announced my dismissal, and the landlord ordered me to immediately move out of her house and compensate her for reputational damages. All the troubles have piled up at once. Before I could resolve the issues here, I suddenly received news from my hometown that someone had put up banners demanding money at my parents' doorstep, which made them faint from anger, recalling the tragedy from my past life. I immediately started a video call with my relatives back home. When my parents saw me, they tearfully asked me what was going on. After I explained the whole story from beginning to end, the two of them finally breathed a sigh of relief. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no reason to fear ghosts knocking at our door. I'll go chase them away right now. I thought for a moment and said, gossip is a fearful thing, since everyone is here to watch the show. It's better to clarify the situation now, otherwise, even if we drive them away, it will leave room for rumors. I quickly sent the video I had taken that day to my relative and asked her to help spread it by sharing it. Long before the couple arrived, I had already prepared a backup plan. I placed a spare phone in both the kitchen and the living room to record, making up for the lack of physical evidence in my previous life. I had originally intended to use these in court. But now it seems I have to release them early. Through the live stream, I saw Wang Dafeng and his wife sitting at my doorstep, making a scene with their shameless shouting and yelling. A significant number of villagers were deceived by them, pointing at my parents and cursing. At that moment, my cousin brought out a large television and played the surveillance footage in front of everyone. In the footage, Wang Xiaohong's cries for help could be clearly heard. Yet the couple were busy stealing my supplies, completely ignoring their daughter's pleas for help. The video only plays up to this point. Real life is not a courtroom. It doesn't require both witnesses and material evidence. With the material evidence, everyone understood everything. They raised their hose and rushed toward the couple. Wang Dafeng and Lin Chua were drenched in sewage and fled in panic. He sent messages cursing me, vowing to make me pay. 7. The next day, Wang Dafeng returned. He proactively posted a video admitting his mistake of being too busy stealing supplies to notice his daughter's cries for help, using it to counter my recording. The video only proves they didn't save the child, but doesn't prove I didn't kill anyone. They insist that I was the one who pushed the child down. They completely ignored the third-party video recorded by the neighbor. Initially, everyone thought it was just his nonsense. However, that very afternoon, the situation took a turn. They released a video recorded before Wang Xiaohong became a vegetable. In the video, the little girl, barely breathing, repeatedly emphasized, "It was sister when Luochu who told me to let go. She said if I let go, I could survive." As everyone knows, children do not lie. In my previous life, I was completely cornered by her testimony. Starting over, I still ended up back at the beginning. Even if I released all the audio and video recordings from that time, it was useless. She insisted I said it, so I must have said it. I didn't fall into the self-justification trap like I did in my previous life. Insist that they provide physical evidence. Unable to produce solid physical evidence, they brought in the media to sensationalize the matter, attempting to use public opinion to pressure me into a private settlement. The asking price was raised from 3 million to 5 million. During this period, Wang Dafeng and his wife went live every day in front of their daughter's hospital bed, playing the victim to gain sympathy. They exploited the compassion of netizens and managed to raise over 1 million yuan in just a few days. I kept my eyes on the number of viewers in the live stream. I waited until it reached its peak before walking into the hospital room. When she saw me, Lin Chua immediately burst into tears. "What are you doing here?" She stared at the fruit basket in my hand and angrily said, "You're the one who harmed my daughter like this. I don't need your crocodile tears." Wang Dafeng pointed the camera at me. "Everyone, look, this is the culprit who encouraged my daughter to let go. She was jealous that my daughter has parents who love her so much. So she took the opportunity to get revenge. I've seen her give my daughter that crazed, jealous look more than once, and it always happens when I buy gifts for my daughter." In just a few sentences, the barrage of comments cursed me out tens of thousands of times. I calmly placed the fruit basket aside. "Take another thing out of the bag. Both of you, don't get too emotional. With so many people watching today, aside from talking to Xiaohong, I definitely won't do anything else." Both of them also knew that my appearance had brought more attention to the live stream, so they didn't actually intend to kick me out. Instead, they kept playing the victim for the camera. Fortunately, their attention was all on the live stream, and they didn't notice that I had shown Xiaohong the video. The video clearly captured their remarks favoring sons over daughters. "Honey, what should we do about Hong Hong? Do whatever needs to be done, anyway. I won't let that little woman manipulate me. She's just a money-losing burden. If she dies, even better. I'll have a reason to demand compensation from that woman, then we can have a son. Wouldn't that be better than raising a money-losing burden?" The loud sound instantly stunned the couple. The vegetative Xiaohong on the bed suddenly sat up. She cried out loudly, "Mom and Dad, I don't want a little brother." 8. This scene left the couple completely dumbfounded. They hurriedly covered Xiaohong's mouth. The child, however, burst into loud sobs, desperately trying to grab them with their hands. "You said I was your favorite, and you didn't want any younger brothers or sisters. It was you who told me to go swing on the balcony and make videos to scam money. You can't abandon me." Wang Dafeng was so frightened that he even forgot to turn off the live stream and immediately slapped Wang Xiaohong across the face. "Shut the hell up." I glanced at the comments in the live stream. Soon, it had already reversed. I believe that soon the entire internet will know what kind of people this couple is. I left amidst the chaos, contact my lawyer and proceed with the next steps promptly. With Wang Xiaohong's testimony, everything proceeded much more smoothly. Wang Dafeng and Lin Chuya were found guilty of child abuse. They are definitely going to prison, but I believe the best way to torment someone is not to send them to their death. Nor is it to send him to prison where he can eat, drink, and live at the expense of the state's resources. Instead, it is to send him into an endless abyss of suffering. The disabled Wang Xiaohong became the embodiment of their lifelong suffering. In the end, the law sentenced both to 1 year in prison. At the same time, compensate me and the elderly couple on the first floor for emotional distress. Li Sukai from the Property Management Department was sentenced to 6 months for covering up and providing false testimony. I regained my reputation and also gained attention. I seized the momentum to start live streaming and build a fan base, embarking on the path of a sales host. Life is getting better and better. 6 months later, I learned that Wang Xiaohong had been discharged from the hospital. She is currently staying at a relative's house. It is said that her aunt treats her very poorly. It's understandable. Who would have patience with someone who can't even take care of themselves when going to the bathroom? That child has been spoiled and is particularly ill-tempered. If they don't get what they want to eat, they throw a tantrum. This made her aunt so angry that she often went hungry for days on end. Her aunt would emphasize during each visit that the child's parents should behave well and get out early to take care of the child. Wang Dafeng knew that life outside would be hell. So he always deliberately picked fights. As a result, what the inmates despised most were those who bullied children. They beat them half to death every day. They don't want to spend a single extra day in prison. On the day the couple was released from prison, the child's aunt deliberately pushed the child to the prison gate and ran away. With criminal records, the couple became key subjects of supervision, to avoid returning to the prison where they were beaten every day. Neither of them dared to make any rash moves. Their money had long been spent. They had no choice but to return to the countryside with their children to farm. It is said that on the day they returned, the villagers threw a lot of cow dung at them. It seems life will not be easy for them. Sure enough, after just 1 month back, the 3 of them moved away looking utterly dejected. Someone saw Wang Xiaohong, sitting in a wheelchair, with red and swollen eyes. Looking as if she had been crying frequently, Lin Chuya also had bruises all over her body, likely from being beaten by Wang Dafeng. Useless man. All he knows how to do is hit his wife and children. In the past, I might have felt sympathy, but now, I just feel that the wicked are getting their due. The darkness in their lives seems endless. Meanwhile, my career is flourishing, towards a better tomorrow. The end. That concludes the first story. Stay tuned. The next one is even more exciting. I am the school's recognized demon child. After being expelled for bullying the principal, no school dared to take me. My father gritted his teeth, sold everything we had, and sent me to a prestigious high school. Before he went to school, he gave me endless reminders. You must get along well with your classmates. If you offend even one, our family is finished. In the first week of school, I skipped class with the wheelchair-bound young master to play bumper cars. In the second week of school, I climbed over the wall with the anorexic young lady to eat spicy hot pot. In the third week of school, the teacher called my dad in. My dad's legs went weak as he entered the door. The teacher looked at him apologetically and said, "Mr. Yunshu, I'm sorry, Yunshu is too popular." The classmates got into a fight over her. 01. I was picked up by my dad while he was collecting scrap, and it was by collecting scrap that he raised me. Just like Xiaohua, Dubai, and Wangcai at home, we are all his family. Listening to him brag, back in the millennium, he was still a carefree rich young master. He was just an aimless man who, instead of taking over the family business, ended up rescuing stray dogs halfway through. From then on, it became an unstoppable passion. The year his family went bankrupt, he used the last of his money to rent a scrapyard, collecting scrap and raising dogs. Life was still manageable, until one winter day, the snow lay white and deep. Someone left a cardboard box at the entrance of the recycling plant. As usual, he thought it was a litter of abandoned puppies. The moment he opened the box, he heard my feeble cry. The dog was saved, and the person was even more saved. From that winter onward, life had to be lived with tightened belts. My father was only 22 that year and didn't yet feel the hardship. He was single-mindedly determined to raise me as a little princess. I don't know which part went wrong, holding a doll. I overturned the tables where people were playing cards on the street, wearing a princess dress. I smeared mud all over the neighbors' windows. With a pink hair clip, I beat up the bullies at school who were collecting protection money. A tiger fallen to the lowlands is bullied by dogs. For someone like my dad, who went from being a young master to a pauper, there was no shortage of mockery. When encountering such people, I made a point of sneaking into their yards at midnight to throw firecrackers. And all of them were firecrackers wrapped in pink paper. This cycle repeated for over half a month, until the person came to my house to apologize in misery, and I finally stopped. Later, when I entered high school, in the summer, the dormitory had fixed power outages. And it was so hot in the middle of the night that the room was filled with groans of distress. Every day when I woke up, my hair was as wet as if it had just been washed. Someone wrote a letter to the principal's mailbox. But there was a camera above the mailbox and a shredder inside. During the routine flag-raising ceremony on Monday, I hung the principal's wig on the flagpole. By the time the principal realized what was happening, the wig had already been raised to the top. From that day on, I became infamous. And no high school was willing to accept me anymore. I don't really mind. So I put on rubber gloves and started sorting the newly collected recyclables at home. It's fine, Dad. I was never cut out for studying anyway. No, you still have to get into college. My dad has this obsession with going to college. He firmly believed that going to college could change his fate. For example, his elementary school deskmate, a poor boy, started a company after graduating from college. While my dad was still cluelessly running around, that guy had already acquired his family's business. My dad, with reddened eyes, took a certificate of merit from the drawer and carefully touched it over and over. You are the first child in our Jean family to receive an award certificate. No matter what, you must continue your education. I curiously moved closer to take a look. On the bright red award certificate were several large, gold-trimmed characters. Little hygiene model of the kindergarten. Damn, I really don't have time to mess around with you. 02. My dad ran around everywhere and finally found a prestigious high school. Despite the high tuition fees, he gritted his teeth and managed to get me in. I'm really not cut out for studying. I don't care, the school must have a way. I had no choice, the money was already paid, so I could only follow his arrangements. The day before school started, my dad repeatedly warned me, listen, All the trouble you've caused before is nothing, if you mess with even one of these people. Our family is finished for good, just get along with them, forget it." Halfway through, my dad shook his head. "It might be a bit too much to ask of you. Just remember not to meddle in other people's business." It was our first time going far away for school, and having not entered the city for years, we both underestimated the power of the morning rush hour. The overpass was completely jammed. By the time I arrived at school, most of the class was already over. I ran frantically across the campus with my backpack on. A boy in a wheelchair was also hurrying along beside me. His wheelchair was electric, but it moved very slowly. Without a second thought, I pushed him and charged forward. People can't help but show off when they do something good. The wind rushed into my ears as I lifted my head and asked, "Classmate, which building are you heading to?" The boy in the wheelchair gritted his teeth and said, "I'm going home, 03. I froze. Instinctively turning the steering wheel to the left and slowing down, the car came to a stop. The next second, the person was thrown out. "Ah, classmate, sorry." I quickly pulled the person up from the ground. I accidentally used too much force. There was a crisp cracking sound from the arm. The boy was in so much pain that his voice trembled as he spoke. You better not touch me. It's hurting this much. So let's try any desperate remedy." I wrapped my arms around him from behind, just like I usually do with a puppy. After making sure he was leaning entirely on me, I supported his elbows with both hands. "What are you trying to do? Trust me, it might hurt a bit. Bear with it." As he raised his elbow to the highest point, he couldn't help but let out a soft groan of pain. The next second, a few cracking sounds were heard, and it was successfully reset. "I told you to trust me. I often do this for puppies." "That sounds like an insult." The boy lifted his eyes and glared at me, his expression dark. "I'm really sorry, classmate. I'll carry you up." I crouched down, slid my arms under the crooks of his knees, and directly scooped him up in a horizontal carry. Suddenly, his feet were in the air, and he instinctively wrapped his arms around my neck. The scent of mint, with a hint of bitterness, washed over me completely. "You know, this person looks tall and long-legged, but he's surprisingly light to hold." I was worried he might be uncomfortable, so after holding him, I gently shifted my grip to adjust his position. His breathing became rapid, and his entire body began to struggle violently in my arms. "Barbarian. Do you have any manners at all?" In the face of absolute strength, he and I were like a tiger and a kitten. The corners of his eyes were red, and his beautiful peach blossom eyes were filled with anger. Fair skin, a straight nose, thin lips, tall with long legs, soft black hair cascaded over broad shoulders. I narrowed my eyes, feeling a slight flutter in my heart. Honestly, I've never seen anyone this good-looking before. The mischievous thoughts in my heart were making me itch all over. I pretended to be fierce. "If you keep moving around, I'll throw you out." They immediately settled down and let me hold them, only their mouth was still putting up a tough front. "You better not let me find out who you are, or you're dead." I glanced at the name tag on his school uniform and grinned. "Then before I die, I'll take responsibility for you first. Chen Yujin, 04. From the fall just now, Chen Yujin's palms were covered in scratches. I was afraid he might have other injuries, so I pushed him to go to the infirmary. The infirmary was quite busy, with all the beds in the rest area occupied by people getting 4 drips. I pulled the curtain around the bed and waited outside. The doctor came out shortly after, bringing iodine, Yunnan Baiyao, and gauze. "There's nothing serious, just some scratches on the palm. Thank goodness. If someone had really gotten hurt from that fall, my dad would have gone crazy." I took the medicine, lifted the bed curtain, and slipped inside. Chen Yujin sat on the bed, silent, with his fists clenched tightly. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "If you don't cooperate, I'm going to kiss you. There are classmates on both your left and right sides. If any noise happens later." Chen Yujin jolted, his eyes widening in panic as his palms instantly flew open. I smiled with narrowed eyes. "That's a good boy." When he fell, his palm must have pressed against the gravel on the road. The wounds were one after another, some deep and some shallow. He really is like a young master. His fingers are fair and slender, his skin delicate and smooth. My movements became increasingly gentle, and when I finally finished wrapping the gauze, I couldn't resist giving it a little rub. Chen Yujin was so angry he could have killed me. I pretended to be innocent. as if I hadn't done anything just now. I won't tease you anymore, I'll walk you to the school gate. I reckon his wound will heal with one more application of medicine tomorrow. When I saw him off at the school gate, I called out to him. I'll come by to apply the medicine for you again tomorrow at noon after school. Chen Yujin frowned, clearly showing that he didn't want to see me again. I pulled hard on both sides of his wheelchair, dragging him right in front of me. Looking down from above, I picked up the name card pinned to his chest, Class 3A. Chen Yujin, 05. Even in elite schools, classes are arranged by academic performance. Class A is the best, Class K is the worst. My grades can only get me into Class K. My dad found out that those who make it into Class A are the best of the best among the most talented. They have real skills in their heads. You can't buy your way in. I especially avoided Class A at school. Chen Yujin ended up getting into a luxury car I didn't recognize. The driver skillfully folded the wheelchair and put it away. Before leaving, he rolled down the window, his gaze dark and unreadable. What's your name? I'll tell you tomorrow. Joke. That look in his eyes is anything but friendly. If I tell him who I am, he'll probably dig up every detail about my family. Anyway, once my injury heals tomorrow, I won't have any more contact with him. By the time he's still angry, I'll just say something nice to smooth things over, as expected of me. Perfectly resolved. After all that trouble, by the time I found Class K, the first period was already over. The homeroom teacher wore glasses and looked like a recent college graduate, young and female. She simply couldn't command respect from these wealthy and influential students. Class, quiet down. This is our new transfer student, Zhon Yunshu. Let's give her a warm welcome. Only the homeroom teacher's own applause could be heard. The students below were all sizing her up with their gazes. The homeroom teacher is not to be trifled with, and I don't want to cause any trouble. The only empty seat in the classroom was in the last row by the window, so I carried my bag and went straight there. By October, the weather had already turned cool. If it weren't for the trash can, this would indeed be a great spot to sleep. This is an English class, and in this elite high school, the entire class is conducted in English. I try to piece together the few words I recognize. Just as I figure out what the teacher said in the previous sentence, I have no idea which question the next sentence is referring to. Forget it, I might as well just sleep. The air is a bit smelly, but I can still tolerate it. While half asleep, I heard people murmuring outside the window. 06. Jingy, why did you throw away the invitation I left on your desk? The girl lowered her voice. I don't want to go, it's just a birthday party. Don't you come every year for my birthday? But I don't want to go this year. Why? I already told my friends I'd definitely invite you. I said I don't want to go, and that's final. Shun Jingy, what are you pretending for? You used to shamelessly chase after me before. It's just that you're skinnier now and a bit better looking than before. I still have your photos from middle school when you were as fat as a pig. If you dare not go, I couldn't take it anymore. So I grabbed a cup of water, opened the window, and splashed it out. Hey man, are you an animal? Can't you understand human language? I've had a bad temper when waking up since I was a child. My dad has always only dared to let the dog wake me up. I can tolerate the smelly environment, but constantly nagging here is just too much. The boy got splashed with water all over his face by me. The girl across from him didn't even get splashed with a single drop of water. Fuck, who the hell are you? I'm your mother. The entire class, which had been drowsy, suddenly, my shout woke everyone up completely. The teacher on the podium didn't even dare to move. Damn it. The drenched boy wiped his face roughly and charged over with a raised fist. I quickly pulled the window shut. The boy punched the glass, making the entire window shake. I frowned and hissed, SSS. The boy outside was in so much pain his face contorted. It's not like you're the one who hit the window. What the hell are you hissing for? Hehe, feels good, just shouting for you. The guy was completely enraged, pointing at my face and starting to curse. Fuck you, don't think I won't hit a woman. Get the hell out here. I opened the window and looked him up and down. Are you sure you want me to come out? You can't beat me. He grabbed me by the collar, his whole face turning bright red. I took the opportunity to grip both sides of his wrist, pressing hard right into the gap between the bones. The pain made him instantly let go. I kept applying pressure, not letting him break free. Is your mouth connected to your ass? Do you have to spew filth every time you open it? Can't you speak without cursing? The next second, I let go, and he fell to the ground. Shun Jingy, fine, just you wait. He scrambled to his feet, spat viciously, and scurried away in a panic. Only the girl beside me lifted her face, which evoked a sense of pity, and softly spoke to me. Thank you, 07. After class, the area around my seat immediately became lively. A group of girls chattered and crowded around. Damn, you're so cool. You even dared to hit Huitian. That brat Huitian is used to throwing his weight around. Apart from the tragic, handsome, and powerful young master he doesn't dare mess with, even a dog passing by would get kicked by him. This isn't the first time he's cornered the school belle by the stairs. We're all so sick of him. Classmate, your name is Jean. Jean what again? I propped my chin on my hand and looked at her. Jean Yunshu. Yes, Jean Yunshu. I need to go home and take my traditional Chinese medicine. Being straightforward all the time isn't necessarily a problem. I immediately waved my hand and politely declined. It's mainly because this guy is too weak. If it were someone more skilled, I might not be able to handle it. He's not skilled. Huitian has been practicing boxing for many years. The bell for class rang. The girls reluctantly stood up. Anyway, thank you so much. It was really satisfying to see that troublemaker get what he deserved. He should probably lay low for a while now. Huitian did indeed quiet down for a day. He spent the entire day investigating my family background. The next day at noon after school, I took the medicine and headed towards Class A. Class A was in the adjacent building, and to get there, I had to walk through a corridor. At this time, everyone goes directly downstairs to the cafeteria. So there are very few people in the corridor. Huitian, accompanied by a few people, passed through the corridor and happened to run into me. Jean Yunshu, you actually came to me first. 08. Huitian was holding a baseball bat. Behind him, there were about 4 or 5 people, each carrying a telescopic baton. I thought you were so tough. Turns out you're just a worthless trash picker. How dare you act so arrogant in front of me? He spat fiercely onto the ground. It must not be easy for you to come here to study, right? How about letting me help you? His smile was disgusting. I stepped back, one step at a time. What do you want to do? There are surveillance cameras here. Huitian became even more arrogant. The people behind him all started laughing along. Jean Yunshu. This corridor is newly built. There are no surveillance cameras. I see. I immediately slapped him. His smile was still frozen on his face when I slapped him again with the back of my hand. 2 slaps made Huitian's eyes clear up. What are you so cocky about when there's no surveillance here? I stomped hard on his foot. While he was off balance, I grabbed the back of his neck with one hand and slammed his head toward the wall. Huitian had seen my strength before and was so scared his legs went weak. He just wanted to teach me a lesson, but I wanted to take him down completely. There's no other way. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Did you really think I was playing around with you? Save me. What are you all doing? I directly snatched Huitian's baseball bat and raised my hand high. Dare to come closer and I'll crack his skull open. The reckless fear the irrational, and the irrational fear those who value nothing, not even their own lives. A group of people didn't even have the courage to step forward. The atmosphere remained deadlocked. I still couldn't break free. A clear, cold voice came from the distance. What are you doing, 09? I thought it was a teacher passing by. I instantly shoved the baseball bat back into Huitian's hand. My voice also went high-pitched, with only one hand still firmly pinching the flesh on his thigh. I'm so scared, please don't hit me. Huitian was in so much pain that he saw white flashes before his eyes. Hearing me turn the tables on him, he was so angry he couldn't even speak clearly. I didn't. I rolled my eyes exaggeratedly and slapped his annoying head away. Before my fake tears could even fall, I looked up and realized the person speaking was Chen Yujin, TSK. I couldn't handle 1 against 6 in the first place, and now I have to drag along a burden. This is even more difficult. I snatched Huitian's baseball bat. Lay a finger on me or this person in the wheelchair. And you're asking for trouble. Got it. Huitian cried out before I did, using his last bit of strength to break free from me. He scrambled and crawled over to Chen Yujin. Brother Jin. Brother Jin, save me. That bitch Jean Yunshu is trying to kill me. The few people Huitian brought with him also ran behind Chen Yujin. I was completely dumbfounded on the spot. Chen Yujin ignored him, and the wheelchair beneath him moved toward me. So your name is Jean Yunshu, 10, Huitian. What are you doing? The girl who rejected Huitian yesterday also appeared in the corridor. I remember her name is Shinjingi. She was panting heavily, her hands resting on her knees, as if she had just run over from somewhere. I will report your harassment to the school exactly as it happened. If you dare bother her again, I'll have my mother terminate all collaborations between the Shun and Hua families. Hua Tian was both furious and anxious, the spot where I had slapped him swollen and raised. His leg was also bruised from my grip, causing him to limp. In contrast, I haven't lost a single strand of hair from head to toe. Shinjingi ran towards me, and as she passed by Hua Tian, she bumped hard into his shoulder. Chen Yujin and her were by my side, one on the left and one on the right. The Chen family will also reconsider our cooperative relationships with the various families, unless. Chen Yujin only said half of his sentence, but everyone behind Hua Tian understood. The injuries on Hua Tian's body were all from his own falls. That's right, we all saw it. How despicable, how could he harass Shen? Fortunately, this John student stepped up bravely and protected Shen. Damn, my eyes instantly widened. Is that what Chen Yujin really meant? It's pure framing. The situation went from 1 against 6 to 8 against 1 in an instant. I'm genuinely thrilled. 11. There is a private elevator for Chen Yujin in the teaching building. The 5th floor of the cafeteria is Chen Yujin's private kitchen. Even I, as slow-witted as I am, have finally figured it out. Chen Yujin is the tragic yet handsome and capable young master they were talking about. Damn it, I shouldn't have teased him yesterday. Following behind them, I was filled with regret. Luckily Shinjingi was there too, so it wasn't as awkward. I've already had lunch, so I won't go up with you. Classmate Yunshu, see you this afternoon. Shinjingi waved at me with a smile. I was almost in tears. Aren't you going to apply the medicine? Chen Yojin's wheelchair remained in place. I gritted my teeth and stepped forward to follow him. I will, anyway. After applying the medicine this time, there won't be any relationship between us anymore. I didn't even do anything to him. The 5th floor of the cafeteria is completely different from the 4 floors below. Sofas, bar counters, and dining tables are all arranged according to personal preferences. After lunch, I carefully unwrapped the gauze from Chen Yojin's hand. The wounds are all healing well, even the deepest wound has already scabbed over. After we remove the bandages tomorrow, there will be no need to wrap them again. Will it be all better tomorrow? I nodded and pointed at his palm. Look, the deepest one has already scabbed over. Chen Yujin didn't say anything, his gaze heavy, as if he was pondering something. Today, the gauze was wrapped only in a thin layer. Anyway, the wound is almost healed. The gauze is mainly to prevent the medicine powder from being rubbed off. I won't come find you tomorrow. Okay, thank you for helping me out today. 12. Finally got rid of that ticking time bomb. Chen Yujin. In the afternoon, I comfortably returned to the classroom. 2 uninvited guests appeared beside the seat. Yesterday's trash bin had already been taken away, replaced by 2 new desks. Shinjingi sat in the middle seat, her small, palm-sized face lit up with bright eyes when she saw me. Yunshu, over here. Chen Yujin, sitting beside her, seemed to be grinding his teeth in frustration. I sat back in my seat in a daze. Compared to Chen Yujin, Shinjingi couldn't suppress the smile at the corners of her mouth. I need to write a statement to the school about Hua Tian harassing me. I was too scared yesterday, and I don't remember many things clearly. I could only transfer from Class A to Class K for temporary study. Wait a minute. Class A, you said you transferred from Class A to Class K for temporary study. Damn, what are you after? Chen Yujin spoke coldly from the side, something that could be solved by just adding a WeChat contact. But Shin just loves to make a big deal out of it. Shinjingi looked at me, her eyes immediately reddening, her voice trembled. Yunshu, did I, suddenly coming here, disturb your studies? I immediately waved my hand and patted my chest, assuring her, no, I don't study at all, I'm just slacking off. After saying that, I felt something was a bit off. Seeing Shinjingi on the verge of tears, I shot Chen Yujin a fierce glare. So what are you doing here? Are you also here as a visiting student? No. I was just about to let out a long sigh. I transferred here from Class A. I choked on my breath before I could even exhale. No, what are you trying to gain again? Chen Yujin looked at me with resentment, extending his palm. The gauze wrapped at noon was now loose and sagging. The deepest wound revealed pink, tender flesh. I immediately grabbed his hand to look. Didn't it scab over by noon? How did it become like this in just a short while? I don't know. You've been the one handling it all along. Shun Jingyi's smile froze on her face. Just a minor injury, and you're already troubling your classmates. Classmate Chen. You really are too delicate to take care of yourself. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Shun Jingyi, Chen Yujin. All right, it's no trouble at all, no trouble at all. Seeing that the two were about to start arguing, I quickly pulled them apart. 13. The onlookers were practically going wild with excitement. When I went to the water room to fetch water, the versions I heard can't even be described as outrageous. Which scene of the K-class love triangle is being performed today? Transfer student falls for the campus bell, and the young master chases his love across 1,000 miles. Long live the twin girls. I'm cheering for Jingyun with all my might. Then we Yuyun fans will never admit defeat. Isn't anyone a die-hard fan of Jeon Yunshu? Don't you think her little fangs when she smiles are super cool? Sister, I totally get you. Such a chaotic day only lasted for one afternoon. The next day, Shun Jingyi was forced by the school to return to Class A. The reason given was that the transfer procedures were not properly completed. Chen Yujin became my only deskmate. He is actually a very boring person, attending classes, doing exercises, sleeping. He also speaks very little. Most of the time, I'm the one talking, and he's the one listening. And he is widely recognized as the king of hard work. He is always the first to arrive at school. He is always the last to leave after school. I've never even seen him go to the restroom. Sitting next to a top student as an underachiever brings a lot of pressure. When I went to fetch water, I thought I'd bring some for him, only to realize for the first time that he didn't have a water cup. He never went to the restroom, arriving early and leaving late, all just to protect his hidden self-esteem. The moon waxes and wanes, but he remained forever a crescent. In the late afternoon as the sun was about to set, I leaned close to his ear and quietly asked him, Chen Yujin, have you ever skipped class? 14. Teacher, Chen Yujin needs to use the restroom. Before Chen Yujin could answer, I raised my hand frantically, like a peacock flaunting its feathers. His eyes widened, and he reached out to cover my mouth. I pressed his hand down and hid it under the desk. The teacher nodded and continued with the lesson. The wind howled in my ears. The horizon looked as if it were on fire, taking advantage of the guard going back to the duty room to get water. I hunched over and pulled open the small door. I pushed Chen Yujin and ran outside. The young man had never done anything rebellious. His eyes were frighteningly bright. Jeon Yunshu, you could have just said something to get out. What are you doing? What do you know? Skipping class requires full immersion. What kind of skipping class is it if you just walk out directly? Once you're out, just follow my lead. I'll take you to have fun, and you'll foot the bill. There's an amusement park near the school. I noticed it when I came to study. Actually, it's not really an amusement park, it's just some small amusement equipment outside the shopping mall, but I've never played it before. Chen Yujin hasn't either. When the boss pulled out a pink bumper car and placed it in front of us, my eyes lit up like stars. Chen Yujin sat there, completely bewildered. Jeon Yunshu. Are you sure I can play this? I wrapped my arms around the back of his knees and lifted him horizontally. Trust me, when have I ever lied to you? His breath brushed against my neck. 2 hearts are beating wildly. He must be looking forward to it too, just like a normal child. Playing with these seemingly chaotic and illogical things. 2 people ride in one bumper car. He handles the steering wheel, and I step on the gas pedal. In the beginning, all newbies are total noobs, a grade schooler. With nimble maneuvering, directly cornered both of us. Chen Yojin's competitive spirit kicked in, chasing after the grade schooler's car and ramming it hard. They just had to settle the score. I held onto the car body tightly, screaming excitedly, "Charge, Chen Yujin! There's a car coming from the right, left. There's a car coming from the left too." After the short race ended, my chest was heaving violently. The sun in the distance had completely set. The carousel across from the bumper cars lit up. I looked at Chen Yojin's profile, a small patch of light reflected in his eyes, flickering like dancing flames. Where is the gloomy look of the past? Chen Yujin. I raised an eyebrow and looked at him. Great teamwork. Want to play another round? 15. At the end of that day, Chen Yujin was taken back by his family. I was afraid he would get scolded when he got home, so I frantically gave him advice. The message went unanswered. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I received a text message. Something came up at home. I'll be back in 3 days. The next day, He didn't come to school. During lunch, Shun Jingyi carried her tray and sat down beside me. Classmate Yunshu, don't worry, I asked my parents to look into it. Chen Yu has gone back to the old Chen family home and won't be back for a few days. I nodded. I know, he sent me a message on WeChat. She seemed a bit surprised. He can still get his hands on a phone now. Can't you use your phone when you go back to your hometown? I guess so, they have a lot of rules, I thought to myself. No wonder he never replied to my messages after that. Shun Jingyi's plate only had a boiled egg. I remembered that the first time I met her, Hua Tian had mentioned something about her weight. I handed her the crispy fried pork that was beside me. Losing weight just for the sake of others' opinions, isn't that just torturing yourself? I haven't touched the crispy fried pork, it's for you to eat, Shun Jingyi sighed. I wish I could eat too, but I damaged my stomach a few years ago while dieting, and now I instinctively feel averse to food, averse to all kinds of food, basically averse to all the everyday foods I eat. I don't believe it. There are countless food enthusiasts in the world. Do you understand what you're eating? Come on, I'll take you out to eat. 16. I took Shun Jingyi out by climbing over the wall. Just over the back wall, there's a street full of snack stalls. The first one is a sticky and spicy hot pot. I pulled Shun Jingyi and went in, a bowl of spicy hot pot, with vegetables, meat, and pre-made meatballs. Shun Jingyi mustered up the courage for the 5th time and picked up a piece of sweet tempura, one bite in, and the expression on their face changed. I smiled at her and said, go ahead and eat. One bite and you won't make a sound, while eating the dish. Shun Jingyi still instinctively felt like vomiting. The next bite was suppressed by the pre-made meatball. I was completely stunned. I have no aversion to technology at all. The highest level of dining is when you can't even spare a moment to talk. By the end, the wide noodles are coated in sesame paste. The sesame paste sticks to the bowl sticks to your mouth, and your mouth sticks to your throat. We were sitting there, dizzy from the carbon, anorexia. It simply doesn't exist. When Chen Yujin came back to school, it felt like the sky had fallen. Shun Jingyi, why are you in class K again? 17. When my dad walked in, his legs went weak. The homeroom teacher went up to him. I'm sorry, Mr. Yunshu. My dad, with red-rimmed eyes, looked at me and let out a deep sigh. It's all right. Teacher, just tell me directly, what trouble has she gotten into this time? Our family's financial situation is poor, but no matter how much money we need to compensate, I will find a way. The teacher quickly waved her hand. No, it's because she's too popular. Before she could finish speaking, Chen Yujin and Shun Jingyi entered the room while arguing. These two usually quiet individuals were now debating fiercely with each other. Unlike the initial sarcasm, this time it was a direct personal attack. You fake, if it weren't for you causing trouble behind my back, why would I have been called back by Class A, and what kind of good person are you? Taking advantage of someone's absence to steal their desk mate. Shameless. I still went easy on you this time. Next time, I'll make sure your family grounds you for a month. I knew it. How did they find out I wasn't at school? Just as the two were about to come to blows, the homeroom teacher was on the verge of tears. Mr. Yunshu, please take Yunshu home for a few days. If the year-end bonus is gone, then so be it. But if these two start fighting, what? The teacher qualification exam is not easy to pass either. My dad walked out of the school still in a daze. He took out a cigarette from his pocket and took a moment to calm down. How many days are you staying at home? I waved my hand. Ding dong chicken, 18. When the small truck carried me back to the scrapyard, a crowd of onlookers stood at the entrance. At a glance, I saw they were all people I had bullied to some extent. Oh, got expelled again. Who did you piss off this time? Some young master or miss? Tell us. We could use a laugh. Can the two of them afford to offend anyone? Better pack up and run overnight. Yunshu, your father has suffered so much raising you. He might as well have let you freeze to death back then. I clenched my fist, but my dad stopped me. In middle age, his eyes crinkled with laughter. Oh my, Brother Wang, Brother Liu, Aunt Li, it's not that exaggerated. Our Yunshu didn't drop out of school. She's the best child, sensible and obedient. The onlookers snorted coldly. Old John, you're just swallowing your teeth after having them knocked out. Exactly, what kind of child Yunshu is, we know perfectly well. They were actually right, raising me. My father really put in too much effort. I don't want to cause him any more trouble. The clenched fist loosened. the palm bruised purple from the nails digging in. From now on, let's keep a tighter rein on the household. If you don't go to school, you'll end up stealing and swindling. Word by word, the remarks drifted into my ears, sharper than any blade. Hey, that's not necessarily true. Girls have plenty of options. They can just stand under the overpass. Before he could finish his sentence, my dad lunged forward in a single stride. He punched him right in the nose. The one who said this is old Wang, the owner of the scrapyard property. He used to be involved in the underworld, and even in his old age, he's still a seasoned ruffian. You dare say one more word about her, I'll *****ing show you. 19. My dad never once laid a hand on anyone. This group of people isn't afraid of him, but they are afraid of me. Since I was young, I never hold back when I fight back. They've all seen it. When I was a child, I didn't understand why everyone was so full of malice. Was it because our family's recycling collection was too dirty, or was it because our dog was too noisy? But my father would get up before dawn to clean the yard, and all the recyclables were neatly stacked. All the dogs were also trained to be extremely well behaved. The sounds of mockery and sarcasm still lingered. It was only later that I understood that this was the purest form of malice in the human heart. After meals, there always had to be someone to serve as entertainment. Especially those who used to do well but are now worse off than them. My father was the first to bear the brunt. He was mocked in various ways by the group of people playing cards on the street. So when I grew up, the first thing I did was to overturn that card table on the street. The second thing was to throw mud at the windows of every household that had bullied my father. The neighbors came to our door, baring their teeth and looking furious. I let out a long howl and commanded a pack of dog soldiers to guard the entrance. The world had truly turned upside down. People bare their teeth and snarl like dogs. Dogs sit at the main entrance, looking surprisingly human. From then on, everyone said old John had a hard life, raising a child who turned out to be a demon pill. But my father never blamed me for causing trouble. He knows I am protecting him. As parents, how could we need our children to protect us? More and more people came to watch the commotion. My father knocked old Wang to the ground, fist to flesh, fist to blood. Old Wang roared, his turbid eyes bulging out. Jean Shunqio, stop fighting, stop fighting. I'll return the scrapyard to you. You won't have to pay me rent anymore. Have you forgotten? Isn't this your family's old distillery? Didn't you always dream of starting it up again? My father's eyes were bloodshot, his fists clenched and raised high. I don't care. Seeing that the person was about to be beaten unconscious, I desperately rushed forward to pull him away. It's no use. 20. The police arrived in time, took all of us to the police station. Old Wang refused to accept mediation. When I knelt at the police station entrance begging him once again, he spat a mouthful of bloody phlegm at me. I'm determined to put your father behind bars. Everyone inside is my brother. Your father can wait to be killed. The autumn sun hung high in the sky, and the blood in my body felt as if it were freezing. I looked at his fierce expression and pulled out a small knife from my pocket. In that case, why don't you go ahead and scout the path down below first? Zhon Yunshu, a familiar voice rang out, and a warm hand pressed down on my arm. The knife fell to the ground with a thud. Old Wang saw it and scrambled into the police station in a panic. Help! Someone is trying to kill me. Chen Yujin held onto my hand tightly. Zhon Yunshu, I'll handle it. Shen Jingyi has also arrived. She took a blanket and wrapped it around me. The car's heater was turned on. My hands and feet felt as cold as an ice cave. An hour later, Chen Yujin came out of the police station in a wheelchair. My father followed behind him. My tears instantly fell. 21. My dad got out of the police station, but old Wang ended up in prison. The person Chen Yujin found dug up some of his past misdeeds. They were all still within the statute of limitations. So he was sent straight to jail. Over the years, my dad has been consistently finding new homes for the dogs. When the last dog was given away, he transferred the scrapyard to someone else. With the remaining money in hand, he opened a small supermarket in the city, the kind with coin-operated rocking horses at the entrance. On moving day, he completely let go of the past. Yunshu, it's okay if you don't get into school. Your dad can still support you. The weather has been abnormal this year. The originally crisp and clear autumn days were followed by half a month of continuous rain. On the few days when the rain stopped, the sports meet began. The class monitor clasped her hands together and looked at me pleadingly. begging me to sign up for an event. I couldn't bear to refuse. And when the list was finally posted, I found myself taking on all the running events for the girls by myself. During the break, Chen Yujin was sleeping. He was lying on the desk, his long eyelashes like feathers. Chen Yujin, I don't want to run this many. I also leaned on the table, tracing the contours of his features from a distance. Chen Yujin, I don't want to run this much all by myself. His breathing was steady, and he seemed to be asleep. Chen Yujin, is it too cruel of me to make you follow me while I run? I withdrew my hand in frustration. The next second, he grabbed my wrist. He opened his eyes and spoke softly. His voice came through the table and reached my ears, one after another. Deafening, I heard him say, "Okay, I'll go with you." 22, it's over. I think I've fallen for Chen Yujin, this gloomy, awkward, and sharp-tongued guy. How could he possibly be my type? On the sports field, I was preparing inside the track. The audience suddenly became excited. Isn't that Chen Yujin? Damn. He never participates in events like this. Quick, take a picture. Take a picture. Every glimpse of the young master's face is a rare treat. It's like New Year's. We Yuyun fans are celebrating today. I followed everyone's gaze. Chen Yujin appeared in the public eye, sitting in a wheelchair. My heart immediately began to pound loudly. It was a step he himself was unwilling to take. No matter what, he actually came out for me. 100 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, 1500 meters. He was there for every event. I was exhausted. The sound of my heartbeat grew even clearer. I really have fallen for him. 23, after the sports meet. I deliberately reduced the time I spent chatting with him. I simply couldn't look him in the eyes and speak. I'm afraid that as soon as I open my mouth, it'll be, "I like you." So awkward. What if I make a mistake? This face-conscious person might not even want to be friends with me anymore. What should I do? Chen Yujin also noticed it. He started taking the initiative to find topics to talk with me about. For example, during lunch, he asked me, "Have you eaten yet?" I'm puzzled. When I noticed him staring at me, he said, "The weather outside is really nice, but it was raining outside." Once or twice, and by the third time, I started to catch on. "If I don't chat with you, are you unhappy?" His gaze softened instantly, moist and pitiful, like a puppy. "Do you want to chat with me?" He nodded. "Do you know what it means when you want to chat with a girl?" I know. My face instantly grew hot. My heart is about to leap out of my throat. I lowered my head, not daring to look at him. Chen Yujin took the opportunity to hold my hand. "Zhong Yunshu, I've been wanting to ask you these past few days." Go ahead and ask." My voice was so strained it was about to drip with sweetness. "Have you ever considered applying through the sports recruitment program?" 24. Damn it, are you blind? Chen Yujin, what was my blushing just now? Does it mean I have strong blood flow? I was so angry I couldn't catch my breath. You've been wanting to tell me this these past few days." He nodded seriously. "I've had professional coaches analyze your sports meet results. Your physical condition is completely suitable for the sports recruitment track. It's not too late to start now. If you're interested, I can arrange training plans and professional mentors for you." Damn, at a time like this. You're talking to me about future prospects. I don't want a future that's bright and promising. I want a sea of hatred and a sky of love. I want a sea of hatred and a sky of love. I've given up on myself and curled up under the desk. Zhong Yunshu, are you feeling unwell anywhere? Chen Yujin lowered his head to look at me. I gritted my teeth and grabbed him by the collar, forced him to stick his head under the desk. So close, I lifted my face and kissed him, like a dragonfly skimming the water. The soft touch was fleeting. I came back to my senses. Chen Yujin put his hand to his lips, looking at me in disbelief. I completely lost it and ran out frantically. 25. I don't know how many laps I ran around the playground. Chen Yujin followed right behind me in his little car. The moment I was exhausted, I curled up like an ostrich and crouched down. Tears mixed with sweat streamed down my face. Zhong Yunshu, can I say something to you? My voice was muffled. No, I don't want to hear it. I just want to say one thing. Is that okay? No, I won't listen to you about taking the sports recruitment path. It's not about the sports recruitment. I lifted my head, my tears and sweat mixing with my hair in a complete mess. What is that? Chen Yujin sighed. I like you. My mind is exploding with fireworks. I'll say whatever comes to mind. I liked you first. I realized I liked you first. Let me play with the Bang Bang car for a while. I rambled on for a long time. I've been holding back for so many days, it's really been hard for me, a chatterbox, to keep quiet. Just as my throat was about to go hoarse from talking, he handed me a bottle of water. Starting tomorrow, I'll train with you. Damn, fine then. 26. The coach Chen Yujin hired was very effective. His training plan was also very useful. My father never expected that the dream of further education he had given up on for me would soon be realized. See, I told you so, the school always finds a way. My father looked at me triumphantly, hands on his hips. I don't have time to deal with him. The afternoon training session is about to start. I quickly wolfed down a few bites of food. Chen Yujin is a very petty person. If I'm late just once, I won't be able to kiss him for the entire week. I can't let him catch me again. Shen Jingyi also comes to find me to play after class. Although she and Chen Yujin still don't get along when they meet, training can't be neglected. And there are also requirements for academic courses. In the blink of an eye, half a year has passed. I have transformed from a fresh-faced little girl into a muscular little girl full of resentment. The unified examination was successfully completed. The college entrance examination also arrived in a tense atmosphere. After the college entrance exam ended, I couldn't get in touch with Chen Yujin again. Just like last time, I thought he had gone back to the old house again. The next day, someone came to my family's shop. Are you Miss John Yunshu? Our young master sent me to pick you up. 27. I squinted my eyes. Young master, you mean Chen Yujin? The man who arrived had a middle-aged appearance, was dressed in a suit, and wore a respectful expression. Nothing seemed out of place. Wait a moment. I need to grab my bag. I just happened to buy him a crossbody doll as a birthday gift. I followed the middle-aged man into a Bentley. There was a pleasant citrus scent in the car, making one feel drowsy, but I didn't fall asleep, with a whole piece of Hall's Midnight Storm in my mouth. Now, when I open my mouth to speak, it feels like it's freezing. The Bentley was parked in an unfinished building. The middle-aged man took my backpack, and another person carried me upstairs. I don't know how many floors we went up, but in the end, they placed me in an open area. My hands and feet were tied up. I opened my eyes just a slit to survey my surroundings. High-rise, drafty from all sides. Not far away lay a person, and my heart suddenly felt gripped. It was Chen Yujin. He looked as if he had been beaten, his hands and feet tied, his whole body collapsed on the ground. Hu Tian walked out from around the corner, crouched down, and patted Chen Yujin's face. Wake up. Chen Yujin, look who I've brought you. Chen Yujin's condition wasn't right. On such a cold day, he was only wearing a white shirt. Hu Tian slapped him several times before he finally woke up. 10 years ago, did your brother die right here? He died, and you were left disabled, isn't that right? Hu Tian grabbed his hair and forced him to look at me. Then you say today, both you and this damn bitch will die here. How about that? Chen Yujin saw me clearly, his eyes wide with rage. Hu Tian, how dare you lay a hand on her, Mr. Chen? I'm not afraid. My family was ruined by yours, and there's no way for me to survive in this country anymore. I've been dreaming of killing both of you. And Shen Jingyi, next is Shen Jingyi. He was like a madman, letting go of Chen Yujin and charging straight at me. He dragged me along, pulling me to the unsealed window area. Chen Yujin crawled forward, trembling as he tried to stand up at one point. Hu Tian, I can give you anything you want. Let her go. Let her go. What do I want? I want her dead. I want her to watch herself fall to her death. Hu Tian grabbed my hair and raised his hand to slap me awake. I instantly opened my eyes and broke free from the rope binding my hands behind my back. I punched him in the face. 28. The doll was actually a hidden small bag. When I left the house, I put a utility knife in my bag. While he was still dragging Chen Yujin around in his madness, I had already cut the rope on my wrist. Hu Tian was knocked to the ground by my punch. Quick as lightning, I cut the rope on my feet. Grab her. The man in the suit and another man rushed in, and I stabbed the knife into Hu Tian's leg. A cry of pain instantly echoed throughout the entire building. I pulled the knife out, pressed against his neck. She dragged him over to Chen Yujin's side. You three are a family, aren't you? If you're not afraid of Hu Tian dying by my hand, then come and try. The two of them immediately didn't dare to act rashly. Please, let Xiaotian go, don't hurt him. I released Hu Tian and stepped on his wound, with my hands free. I immediately scooped Chen Yujin up from the ground and carried him on my back. Chen Yujin, hold on tight to me. Then he pressed the knife against Hu Tian's neck once more. Step back. Chen Yujin's body temperature was scorching hot. He had already exhausted his last bit of energy during the confrontation with Hu Tian just moments ago. Don't fall asleep, Chen Yujin. Don't fall asleep, carrying one person while dragging another. Still having to constantly guard against two people's sneak attacks, my physical strength is rapidly declining. When the sound of police cars echoed in the distance, I quickly dropped Hu Tian, grabbed Chen Yujin, and ran downstairs. I screamed, "Dad, I'm here, hurry up, faster." When we reached the 5th floor, my dad and the police rushed up. I instantly collapsed to the ground. Fortunately, everything had been prepared in advance. As I was leaving, I gave my dad a meaningful look. I shared my location with my dad the whole way. Before the middle-aged man took my bag, I had already sent out the words "Call the police." 29. In the unfinished building, besides Hu Tian, the other two people were his father and his brother. The court imposed a severe punishment for kidnapping and attempted murder. Hu Tian has also turned 18, 2 death sentences with reprieve, 1 life imprisonment. By the time the verdict was announced, Chen Yujin and I had already started college. During the half-month of recuperation in the hospital, Chen Yujin can now stand up on his own. His mother held my hand, crying uncontrollably. According to his mother, Chen Yujin's leg condition is more of a psychological issue. When he was 9 years old, he and his younger brother were kidnapped. When he was rescued, his younger brother was pushed down by the kidnappers to protect him, and he fell to the ground, unable to stand up from that day on. That's what my mom and the others believe. In the 2nd year of our relationship, Chen Yujin held my hand and we took a walk by the seaside. Except for walking a bit slowly, he can already walk very well. The truth is, my younger brother thought he was being clever and pushed me toward the robber, but ended up falling down himself. My younger brother is the most favored child in the family, raised by our parents since he was little, while I grew up following my strict grandfather, living in the old house. After being taken to live with my parents, I felt so distant from them that it didn't feel like we were a family. If he dies and I live, I will lose everyone, but if he dies and I become disabled, I will receive everyone's guilt. I thought this was love, so I could never stand up again. I stepped on his shadow on the beach. Now that your heart is unburdened, do you no longer need their love? Chen Yujin shook his head, held my hand, and gently kissed it. It's not that I don't need it, but that it's no longer important. Compared to true love, those things are no longer important. End. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.